Hello, retro gamers, and welcome to the Video Game Flashback Podcast. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Video Game Flashback is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. Spotify is definitely the feature, but of course the specifications to what they're looking for have gotten pretty ridiculous. So unless you're pretty big, the odds of getting ads on this show are slim to none. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Maybe miracles can happen, and this show will somehow stretch past all the weeds and redwood trees someday. Maybe not the redwood trees, but at least some of the weeds to get some sunlight, and some of you will actually see this show. That some of you mystery listeners out there. So that's kind of how that goes. Again, thank you for downloading and listening to the show. It's a great pleasure to be back on board again once again today. Now that the episode numbers are all according to plan, they're all kind of lined up the way I'd like it to be. Episode 22 of Video Game Flashback is finally going to be my opportunity to do my own version of Castlevania for the NES. Years ago, I believe it was 2018, it was Halloween Day. I had put off an episode of a certain podcast for quite a while because I was, how you start listening to a podcast that's been around a while, you go back to the beginning sometimes. Like something like this one, you might do that. Like imagine I have 100 episodes up already, or 80 or 60 or something. You go back to the beginning and slowly catch up. But there was a certain game called Castlevania in one of their relatively early shows. It wasn't super early. It was a bit in there. But it was going to be due next, and then it's like, nope, I'm saving that for Halloween Day. And it'll be on a Monday and everything. Halloween Day, I believe it was, again, 2018. I started up the podcast, fired it up, and they literally, winged the whole episode. They winged it. Castlevania for the NES. So it drove me absolutely crazy. Years later, I caught up to them. I caught up to them, or months later, I caught up to them responding to what I had said, because obviously it was way back in 2018 that I'd done the review. The show was done way earlier than that, of course. But they caught up to the review and were at first kind of sad, this and that, oh man, I guess, But then a few shows later, some friends came on and they were just completely on the host's side, they're basically invincible and they do the greatest show ever, and then I'm basically the biggest idiot who doesn't know anything. And he said, basically one of the people said, he said Castlevania, it's iconic, I guess, basically I'm a complete idiot for even, what am I talking about? How's Castlevania iconic for the NES history? Let's see, because it's one of the most, it is one of the most familiar names in the history of the NES. It's like the image of Konami in the early days. Konami is one of the most, successful and accomplished and excellent video game companies in the history of video games, to say the least, for the lack of the better words. So, again, extremely sad, extremely disappointing to hear the way they responded. I wasn't all too surprised, and I very quickly unsubscribed to the show and have never came back. And that's how it works. Sorry, if you're going to be a jackass, I'm gone. Maybe I'm a jackass for the review I did, but it wasn't that harsh. All it basically said was, you guys completely winged the episode. Are you serious? How can you do that to Castlevania? So this will be my attempt to do a better job, I guess. Maybe it won't be all that great. Maybe you'll listen to this and think, okay, great. That's real great, Joey. This is 10 times worse. I'd much rather listen to them wing it, talking about God knows what else during the entire show, because that's the kind of thing I'm looking for. And you know what? If that's what you're looking for, I guess that's the kind of show you have, and I guess I'm not right for you. I like to try to stay pretty much on topic if humanly possible, especially when talking about a game like Castlevania for the NES. So in a way, I'm kind of off topic already, in a sense. So let's kind of get to the point, Wikipedia and all that. Castlevania, known in Japan as Akumajo Dracula. So that's what it was called there. Started with an A. And oftentimes in some of those, what is it called, like SNES music apps that are in Apple, there's like, that's the Japanese version of Castlevania. So kind of cool, kind of interesting. The soundtrack is incredible, and you'll get to enjoy it all the way through this episode, including like the level 1 Vampire Hunter, basically is what it is. So we'll continue. It is a platform game developed and published by Konami for the Family Computer Disk System video game console in Japan, September 1986. It was ported to the cartridge format and released in North America for the Nintendo Entertainment System, NES, in May 1987, and in Europe in 1988. It was also reissued for the Family Computer cartridge format in 1993. Wow. It is the first game in Konami's Castlevania video game series. So yes, it is the original. Simon Belmont, late 1600s basically, about like 1687 I believe, sometime around that. So like literally 300 years or so before the game came out, basically. Simon Belmont, Vampire Hunter, he's the introduction of the whole Belmont family and all that. Of course, certainly not the furthest back. Trevor Belmont's like an ancestor, like, 100, 200 years before, in the late 1400s. Basically around Christopher Columbus's time, if I'm correct here. But we'll get to the timeline maybe later on. That's not as important at this second as we talk about Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, and Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. Simon's Quest is a sequel. Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse is, of course, a prequel with Trevor Belmont, the man, the ancestor of them all. So that's the exciting part. Descendant of legendary vampire hunter. And then, you enter the castle of Count Dracula. And the great part about the original versions, the original NES versions of Castlevania, and up to Castlevania 4, is that you are outside the castle for a significant period of time, so you get all the spooky scenery, as the angry video game nerd would describe it, like the cemeteries, the forests, and so on and so forth. Maybe like the old ruins, old ruins of cities and such. That's in Castlevania Bloodlines. But up to Castlevania Symphony of the Night and beyond, every Castlevania game was pretty much inside the castle, except for the 3D versions and such, which I can't get into. To me, Castlevania is a 2D platforming side-scroller, and that's the way I want it. That's the way I've always wanted it. Symphony of the Night was probably the last of the Castlevania games that I truly enjoy. The Game Boy Advance games were decent versions, but not as good. They just weren't as good. The NES versions were insanely difficult because of the stiff controls. That's the one thing that'll drive you crazy. And of course, I'll probably bring that up about 500 times during the episode. But it is what it is. Castlevania 2 in a lot of ways was kind of like a dumbed down, easy version of the game of Castlevania. But it was turned into basically like you have to hurry up and collect items and get this and that, this, that in a certain amount of time. Otherwise, you get the bad ending and die. The really bad ending, and of course I'm getting ahead of myself to Castlevania 2, but might as well mention it. The really bad ending, you die right away. You're already dead. There's your gravestone, basically. Second version is the kind of decent ending, which isn't that good. It's not good at all. You survive, but then you die later from like the disease of Dracula, basically the wounds and all that affected you, the curse of Dracula. And the best ending, you go incredibly fast. You win, you survive, blah, blah, blah. Dracula's curse is removed. And then, which is ironic, Dracula's curse, Castlevania 3. And then you get to see Dracula's hand come out of the ground. Ooh. So, kind of cool. So now I've gotten into that. Obviously, again, platforming game, blah, blah, blah. Developer Konami, publisher Konami, directors Hitoshi Akamatsu, of course, very familiar name. I just want to say it correctly if humanly possible. Akihiko Nagata is a producer, designer, same person. Akihiko Nagata. Programmer Nobuhiro Matsuoka. Artist Noriyashu Togakushi. Fun stuff. And composers Kinuyo Yamashita, Sato Terashima. Cool stuff right there. Platforms, Family Computer Disk System, NES/Famicom. Arcade, yep, there was an arcade version, wasn't there? Yep, isn't that cool? Commodore 64, Amiga, MS-DOS, mobile phone, yep, Game Boy Advance, and Windows. Yeah, I suppose it wasn't Game Boy Advance, wasn't it? Yep. Released September 26th, 1986, so right about, not too long before I'm recording right now is another anniversary, you could say, 37 years, geez, that's a long time. Genre platform, mode single player, so on and so forth. You fight all the classic type of Castlevania/Halloween type of monsters, going all the way to level, like level 1 you fight a big giant bat, level 2 you fight Medusa, level 3 you fight mummies, and then you get to Frankenstein, and then the Grim Reaper, Death, whatever, and Dracula himself, level 6. So very difficult, very fun, all kinds of cool items. Again, crosses that can function as boomerangs in some versions and other versions. It is in the boomerang in most versions. The holy water, which you can throw down, and it can obviously like a jumping character or a very slow-moving character like Frankenstein. You just throw down the holy water, and he's pretty much toast because he can't move. He's just lumbering around, and the holy water burns him to holy hell. Magical watch can briefly freeze enemies, stop the screen. It can be valuable, but it's kind of not the best. And then you get the double and triple shots. So basically, each time you throw an item by pressing select and up, or by pressing up and the fire button, basically like swinging your whip, you use a heart to throw an object if it's holy water or knives or axes. Obviously, axes go in like kind of like a arc. Knives go straight. Axes are good for a lot of enemies in a lot of ways because they're strong, and again, they have that arc effect. Probably good for somebody like Death or the Grim Reaper. But each time you use it, you use a heart, where hearts are what you get by whipping candles or areas in the wall sometimes that can pop up. You can get a heart that way. And obviously bigger hearts, they give you more, they give you 5. But a double shot means you can throw 2 items and use only 1 heart. Triple shot, you can show three items and only use 1 heart. So that's always a very wonderful aspect of the game in so many ways. And of course, we're moving to Strategy Wiki for more of the actual item descriptions. The Morning Star, that's kind of basically South Simon's whip is a Morning Star, which is pretty cool. That's the whip of the Belmont, so to speak. It can be upgraded twice. So like a whip comes down out of the candle, it goes up, and then you get the second whip, which is much stronger, longer, and all that. It increases the length. The first one increases the damage, the strength. So it goes from kind of like a leather whip to a Morning Star. That's pretty much what happens on the second one. And then the third one, it's like a longer version. So that's always really nice. They appear in the candles where normally the small hearts are and such. So you're whipping a candle, you can get hearts or Morning Stars. Occasionally you get something else like a red money bag or a purple money bag. The red bag gives you 100 points, yay. The purple money bag gives you 400, and the white gives you 700. Okay, 700. Anyway, hearts are a form of ammunition, allowing Simon to use a secondary weapon, again, like the knives and such. Small hearts are worth 1, and all that good stuff. And they kind of slowly come down. They kind of drift down like a feather, where the larger one will just come straight down. So it kind of depends. A large heart, yep, like I thought, 5. And they just come down, boop, like that. They just drop, like, say you dropped a glass of water or something. But you didn't make a mess. That's the good part. Yep, there's the dagger. It just kind of goes straight. It's not real strong. The axe is more powerful, and it goes in an arc, like I was saying. The water can like trap an enemy in a lot of ways, the holy water. Yep, which almost looks like medicine, but it's not. It's kind of like a Molotov cocktail. That's basically what it is. Yep, you throw it and it burns. And anything in its path will be damaged. And if it's a monster that's slow moving or jumping up and down all the time, like the final form of Dracula, yeah, holy water can be insanely valuable because they come down on a fire and they just keep throwing it and throwing it and throwing it. Rapid attack, you're going to do serious damage. The cross is nice and everything. It's a boomerang, but I'd rather have holy water or axe. That's just my opinion. The rosary cross makes everything disappear. Holy Mary, all that cute stuff. Okay, I'm not a Catholic, I'm a born-again Christian, anyhow. But it's a rosary, yes. Invisibility potion, it looks like a jug of something. And yeah, it makes you invincible for like 5 seconds. A pork chop, which looks more like a turkey leg, which everybody makes fun of and laughs at, comes out of the wall. Extremely valuable item that will restore 6 units of health in Simon's vitality meter. This can mean the difference between dying and beating a stage. And absolutely. In other versions later on, you get larger pork chops, but not in Castlevania 1. Pretty sure you get the larger pork chop in, yeah, that's more like Castlevania 4, and so on and so forth. Yep, the double shot, the triple shot, of course, very valuable items, and extremely rare item, like that I've pretty much seen maybe once or twice, ever, is a 1-up, and it literally says 1-up. I've pretty much never seen it. Most of you know what a 1-up is. It's an extra life. The magic crystal, or orb, is what you get when you defeat a boss. A boss. Why you get it, I'm not sure. It's just I beat the boss and we're done here and blah blah blah. That's kind of what it is, basically. Where a lot of Castlevania games you get that. Yep, it's like an orb, a red thing. I don't know. It's cute and beautiful. And again, it's after you beat a castle boss. Good stuff, no doubt about it. There's no doubt, as Jacques Lemaire, the Minnesota Wild coach years ago, would say. All the different enemies, all the different bosses. We have Axe Knights. Oh, God, don't even get me started. Alphabetical order. Wow. You have to hit them 10 times. You have to hit them 10 times. It's ridiculous. It's freaking hard. It sucks. And this is the level where you have the Grim Reaper, who is insanely difficult. Oh, geez. Don't even go there. Oh, my God, they're hard. Bats are annoying. They can knock you off ladders and such, or knock you off, like, say, like a little moving ledge, so to speak. That's a pain in the butt. They're definitely a hazard to be knocked into a pit, which is probably one of the most common ways of dying in Castlevania. It's probably more common you're going to get knocked off something and bounce back and do-do-do-do-do-do-do. So yes, there's that. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, that. It's annoying, but that's what bats do. You can kill them in one hit with any item possible. An axe, a knife. Throwing knives at bats, that's cute. But of course, the whip, blah, 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 you get the idea. Bone dragons come out of the walls, basically. It is what it is. It's a bone dragon. You hack away at it if humanly possible. You have to hit them up to 8 times. It's freaking annoying. Bone towers, yep, they're basically skulls, dragon skulls that shoot out fire and crap. It's really annoying. They're in basically every Castlevania game that I know about. They take a while to kill. And annoying, but at least they don't move around. But unfortunately, they can get in your way too. They can get in the way. You try to get around them, and you're probably going to get hit, and it sucks. They're actually really tough. Eagles are not too tough. You can kill them in one hit, but they're annoying, and they carry those obnoxious flea men. They appear really late in the game. Eagles. Flea men are those annoying-looking hunchback type of thing. A lot of people thought they're like a little monkey or something, bouncing around. They're annoying as hell the way they jump at an irregular pattern. You have to kind of time it, duck down, and whoosh. But you don't have to duck, but you can. You don't have to, though. Yeah, they might jump right into your whip. So that's the other thing. Ghosts look like flying moths or something, but I guess it's a ghost. Yeah, it looks like a moth, like an undead moth. That's what it looks like. They take 3 hits. They're annoying. They move slowly, but they can be a huge hazard. Fishmen, yep, they jump out of the water. They're later in the first level, and they come later on in the game. They die in one hit, but they're really hazardous. With the timing that they come out can be a real pain in the ass. So on and so forth. Ghouls, that's really early in the game. I always thought they were zombies, but I guess they're ghouls. Okay. They're the things that come out with their hands sticking out. Yeah, they're zombies. Hell with it. They die right away, but they just kind of walk straight like, what do you expect? They're in their first level, and they're kind of throughout the game as well. But they're the first monster you see pretty much at the end of the day. Medusa heads. Oh boy. Well, they go and they move in that irregular pattern, or not really. It's up and down as they're moving forward. Oh Lord. It's like a wave, basically like waves. They die in a hit. But believe me, when there's any kind of hazard, you could fall in a pit or something. It is. Medusa heads are one of the most hated enemies in the history of Castlevania. Just ask the Angry Video Game Nerd. I've mentioned him 50 times already, but give me a shout out sometime, James Rolfe, you son of a gun. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, right. He's going to give me a shout out if he ever hears I exist. Maybe 50 years from now, though. There is, let's just say, there's very obvious evidence. He did see my Gyromite video, Paladino Live, many years ago. Gyromite NES. Watch my video, Gyromite NES, Paladino Live, and then compare it to Gyromite, like at least the first few minutes of Gyromite when he starts reviewing the game. When the Angry Video Game Nerd does it. Gyromite. I believe it's his 100th episode, I believe. Think about it. Just watch. Watch the certain details. Pay attention. Like when you talk about passing the first stage and stuff, it's like 100% the same. Anyhow, Panthers, sorry I had to say that little thing in there. I had to throw that little anecdote in there. Panthers, they're kind of like, yeah, they're interesting. They kind of lie in wait. They're almost like, they're more ghostly than anything. I don't think they're not living. They've got to be undead because the way they move around. They're like Bigfoot. They're real fast and stuff. They die in one hit, but, you know, they're still annoying, though. Still annoying. Yep, have a dagger, just throw it at them, that kind of thing. That's one of the strategies. Ravens, oh God, they're annoying. Yep, relatively weak, but they kind of come down and they're very dangerous and they can knock you off ledges, just like everybody else. Red skeletons, annoying as hell. They only die in one hit, but they are super annoying. And they get up. They never actually die. They just get knocked over. Oh, they're annoying. They can get back up and drive you nuts. White skeletons, I do believe, die. Yes, they do. They're annoying and stuff, but yeah, they're not as annoying as the red ones. There's a lot of red ones in Castlevania Symphony of the Night as well. I don't know why I keep bringing that game up, but it's a classic. I tend to play it in October every year, but I'm probably going to be focusing much more heavily on a certain Castlevania NES game instead to get this review done and do hopefully a damn good job. I don't know if it's going to be better than what a certain other NES podcast did, but I don't know. I'd like to say it's more the style that I would do. Spear Knights are insanely difficult as you move later and later in the game. Oh boy. They're annoying. Yep, they wander around back and forth. They don't attack by striking, they just run into you. Even though they're holding a spear, but they just run into you. They're very annoying. They take 3 hits. They're not nearly as annoying and difficult as the Axe Knights. The Axe Knights are almost like mini-bosses. That's how bad they are. I mean, they're bad. Bad mother suckers. They're really bad. Yep, ghouls are the weakest, so on and so forth, and then Axe Knights are the toughest of all. Spear Knights are kind of in the middle to more difficult area, and you get 400 points for beating them. 400 points. You don't like that? You don't like that? I don't either. It's not enough. I don't care about points. Phantom Bat is the first boss in the game. He takes 12 hits. Isn't that great? Recommended weapons are the axe and the stopwatch. There's also a double shot in the room, which is a lot of fun. Flies to random locations, swoops down to attack. Yep, that type of thing. And the music is pretty cool, the boss music. We'll get to that later. Queen Medusa. Medusa. She looks a lot like the Medusa in... she looks like, what's his name's mom? Jason Voorhees' mom? Yeah, like her head, whatever. In... what's the movie called? Friday the 13th 2, basically. Yeah, I don't know. Friday the 13th. Yeah, she looks a lot like his mom. Maybe his mom was Medusa. Like it probably was. 12 hits, 3,000 points. Boomerang, Holy Water, Stopwatch recommended. And that one kind of tries to crash into you and such. And drop snakes on the floor, which is really annoying. The Mummy Men, well, if you can have Holy Water because they're slow moving. Unfortunately, there's 2 of them, so they're really tough. And they take many hits, up to 48 hits. But luckily there's a pot roast there if you need it. If you can be fortunate enough to have the Holy Water, you got yourself a chance. And the Boomerang is valuable as well. Frankenstein and Igor. Igor is the little guy who's kind of like another, flea knight or flea men, whatever the hell they're called. Holy Water. Holy Water, anyone? The Boomerang's good too, and the axe does its thing, but the Holy Water whoops his ass. He goes from a very difficult monster to a very easy one. Yes, sir. Oh, Death. Oh, boy. Death is the scariest son of a gun ever. You wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alley or in any alley whatsoever. You really wouldn't. The cloaked, demonic, skeletal, undead, whatever the heck he is, demon. It's a demon. It's a demon. Hello. With a scythe, of course. Very familiar, according to everybody. He even has that color, like in the Bible, kind of that pale horse look. Whew, creepy. Yeah, but if you can have the Holy Water, you have a chance. You have the axe, you have a chance. Boomerang. Those are the 3 best, weapons in the game, no doubt about it. No items in the room there. Takes 24 hits, floats randomly around, and those damn scythes just hang around. Oh, they're dangerous. They are dangerous, and they come at you like a heat-seeking missile. He's extremely hard. We'll talk about him later, of course. And then the Count Dracul. I know I'm kind of like jumping ahead in a lot of ways. There's the regular Dracula. You have to hit him in the head. Whippity, 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 whip. Holy water and whip work on him, especially the real Dracula, the final form. Well, not real, but whatever. The regular Dracula, who looks like the kind of sort of looks like the Dracula in the Muppet Babies. Kind of looks like him. Though you could argue that the first version, the first incarnation, the NES incarnation of Alucard in Castlevania 3 looks a lot like that guy. The Count in the Muppet Babies. 1, 2, 3. Anyhow, you hit him in the head. It's extremely tedious. You have to avoid the the fire shots, so to speak, and time everything correctly, because if he's able to shoot upward when you're jumping, you're going to get hit every time, and you're not going to win. You're just not. But you have to jump, hit him in the head, take your time. It's really annoying, but you'll eventually do it, hopefully. And if you have holy water, you might have a holy chance, and you know where, when he turns into the evil cookie monster, as some people might call him. I'm not sure what he's supposed to be, but other than Dracula, a demonic, skeletal, dinosaur, dragon thing, demon clawed. He looks very evil. It's creepy, even in 8-bit graphics. But if you have holy water, he's going to be saying holy bleep as he keeps landing on the fire, and eventually you win the game, and you are the world champion of Castlevania 1, and you're very happy. They do restore your power after you win, and we'll talk about that later if I'm actually able to be successful and beat this game, save states or not. It's a hard game, even with save states. I have beaten the game, but mostly with... I have beaten the game, but it was like once, and it was really hard, about 10 years ago. Let's see if I can do it again. Conjure up the ability to defeat Castlevania. Oh boy, not going to be easy. A very, 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 very enjoyable game. We're going to give it the best we got here, and it's a game that I think deserves recognition as, it got things going. My first official introduction to Castlevania, before we actually get to the real game review now, the actual playing the game, part of it, so the gameplay part of it anyway, which is the main theme of the show a lot of times. Not always, but it's going to be a lot of times, especially fun ones like this. Went to it was my cousin's my cousin's house in Madelia, Minnesota, close to Mankato, if you're not sure where that is. So some of you have heard of Mankato, Minnesota, even if you don't live in Minnesota. Circa about 1988, 89-ish. I think it was about that. I wish it was 87. It might have been 87, but I think it was later, like 88, 89-ish. I have multiple cousins. There's Jeremy Larson. Of course, this is from my mom's side, so not Lebanese, but more like English and German side. Blonde, blue-eyed-ish, which I'm not, unfortunately. No, I'm kidding, which I'm not, just in general, whether it's fortunate or not. Jeremy Larson, Jenny Larson, and Julie Larson. Of course, Larry's the dad, and Dale is the mom. That is my actual aunt from my mom. Like, that's her sister, her youngest sister. Madelia, Minnesota. They have one of the coolest man caves of all time, without it being all super expensive and stuff. It was just so nice. And back then people had their little tube TV, like a small tube TV. It was color, thank God, kind of like hooked up to the ceiling, sort of in like a case, kind of a case type of thing, but not glass in the way type of deal. And then they had all these NES games and stuff, and it's hooked up to that TV. And then I'm like, my mom's always like, oh, you can't play those evil games, this and that, like Castlevania, because it's creepy looking, And I just said, what the heck, let's put it in. And then I heard that wonderful song that you heard at the beginning. Let's play it again. You were going to hear that song very often in this episode because I can't get enough of it. Just when I first heard that song, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. Whoa, this game's hard, but I did make it to the bat. You got the boss. I don't think I beat him ever. And I think I even thought the same way the nerd did. That's the final boss in the game. No, it's not. It's not even close. It's Dracula already? Wow. No, it's just a big bat. But similar to what the nerd's first experience was kind of like that, like a cousin, I believe. I think it was a cousin's house. So kind of funny how that turned out. Ironic. We'll never meet each other, I'm sure, but I guess you never know. But it was an amazing, it was an amazing experience. Just the music alone, the graphics, the colors, it was fun. I really enjoyed the heck out of it. And ever since, it's like, gotta have that one. And so naturally, I got pissed off when that other podcast winged the episode. Just unacceptable. Sorry. Winging any episode is kind of dumb. But if you're going to wing something, wing like Hide Lied. A game like Hide Light, even like a Breakthrough or something. Breakthrough is kind of fun, but, it's not that great. It's not great like Castlevania. So I just thought that was dumb. Like, if you're going to wing something, it should be like a game that like nobody cares about, like Hide Light, and it's stupid hard and stuff. So with that said, I'm gonna step away for a second, come back with actual gameplay of Castlevania for the NES. Even the title screen is great. Like, it's very colorful. You got the castle in the background, and of course the bat kind of flying up and kind of waiting as you start off in the courtyard, walk into the castle for the first time. You get to hear that amazing music and that kind of dark blue background from the windows. It is as good as it gets. The music, obviously, as you've heard, is as good as you can imagine. You get to encounter like a weird-looking panther type character, which almost looks ghostly, but of course that would make sense. You don't really think about panthers very much, but I suppose they're in Dracula's castle. The stairs, of course, you go kind of just, when you get to them, you kind of press up and kind of hold on. Of course, large hearts, we already talked about that and such. Number one's not too hard, but at the same time, it's very enjoyable. Again, collect both of the chains as they come down very early. Of course, that's how you get the whip to be longer. The zombies just kind of keep coming and coming and coming. I believe they're called ghouls, like I said earlier, but to me, they'll always be zombies. I don't know, it looks like a zombie to me, but I suppose it is what it is. The first area is pretty darn simple, and then you walk further in through the door, automatically when you get to the door, of course, and now you're in the second part. They call it stage 2, even though it's really level 1, but stage 2, whatever it is. And you get your first kind of hidden area as you go down the stairs to like what look like kind of bricks or something in front of you. You can hit it and you get your first healing item, your first pork chop, I guess you could call it. You go there. And then, of course, down the stairs in one of the more annoying early parts of the game. And you even get this same effect in the Castlevania Symphony of the Night with these like mermen coming out of the ground, or out of the water. Obviously, probably the more dangerous part early on. But, it's not too crazy. You just kind of go down and back up, basically, as you keep progressing towards the right, of course. That's the only way to go. It's kind of like taking a little trip downstairs. Also, I guess if you go up the stairs again and you see the bricks area that you just kind of saw, but now you're on the right side of it instead of the left, go up there. Don't go over the bricks, but you go near the top. You'll actually be able to get a holy water, which I think is, again, like I've said numerous times already, one of the best sub items you can get in the game, or sub weapons. Now you're back into, and now you're in an area that looks awfully similar to what you saw before at the beginning of the level, with the more whitish background and such. It is okay to fall down the steps as long as you have a place to land. You can get the axe. That's another item that'll pop up as you head near the end of level 1. Do you get the axe or do you hang on to the holy water? I suppose with this monster, the bat, the large bat, get the axe. I don't know what the heck. So getting the holy water was relatively pointless. Keep walking towards the right and you will encounter your very first boss in the game and get to hear that awesome music. The bat is nothing too scary, but before you start fighting the bat, hopefully move as quick as you can and break the little area below what look like the stairs there. Break it with your whip, of course. You'll get a double shot, so you'll be able to throw 2 axes, and it only costs you 1 heart. So that's kind of a 2-for-1 sale. It's a BOGO, kind of like Byerly's, a couple like a stone's throw away from here, the grocery store. As again, we're heading into October as I start this off, and of course you get to see the leaves falling in the background here as I'm talking. You kill the bat, get your first orb, and off you go. Congratulations. Your score gets counted as you hear the victory music, so to speak, and all your hearts get taken away and counted as points, which is kind of dumb. Then you get to see the map for the first time. And yep, you get to see the map for the first time as you're heading into what I call level 2. I guess they call it stage 4. You keep the item you acquired, and now you only have 5 hearts instead of like what I had, about 60 or so, as you head into the next stage. I kind of call it like the marble area, basically, is what it is, with the reddish background, orangish bricks and everything. Pretty cool stuff, and the music is fantastic, to be quite honest. If you don't like the music in this game, I don't know. Maybe you just don't like good games. I don't know. But instead, I'm going to talk about goofy personal stuff and just joke around for the next half hour. Oh wait, no. Maybe I'll stay away from subtle shots towards that other show and get on to fighting spear knights. So that's the first time you see that. The very first candle here has a cross. I'm going to stick with the axe for now. Maybe I should have got the cross or boomerang, but what the heck. But it's like relaxing, fun music, and then now I just got a cross from a bat, so that was kind of a random luck thing, and, well, whether I liked it or not, the axe is axed for the time being. The bats are extremely annoying the way they time themselves. Otherwise, the spear knights just kind of randomly walk back and forth, or lance knights, whatever they are. They walk back and forth like, drones, basically. I don't know. You also have the moving platforms for the first time in this level. Most gamers that are listening to the show know what a moving platform is by now. At least I would hope. You've probably played retro games for most of your life. Again, you get that nice dark kind of... there's something special about that dark night look, outside the windows. It is so Castlevania. It is so October. It is so Halloween. And that's why I like this game. Now, the part that I hate the most, and the Angry Video Game Nerd will remind you again, and again, and again, and again. Say it with me. The Medusa heads. Oh my goodness. After you get through the first little door and get to stage numero 5, the Medusa heads. Yep. Up, down, and similar to Zelda 2, a former episode, a few episodes back, where you have those dragon head thingies. Oh God, help me. It dropped a, holy water. I think I'll take it. What the hell? Something magical about those holy waters. The trick with the Medusa heads, at least for now, face the other direction for a split second when it comes, and you can kind of walk for a while. Unfortunately, it still is not all that productive because the Medusa head speeds up, or it walks a little faster than you do, or flies faster than you walk, basically. Because you don't walk fast in this game at all. And once you get up the stairs to more of dangerous platforms with Medusa heads included, expect to lose a life or two on occasion, because especially if you haven't played the game in a while or you're playing it for the first time, God forbid, Medusa heads in situations like this where you can be knocked off the edge is classic NES Castlevania bullcrap. You will be knocked off the edge 100 billion times. It just is what it is. But carry on, my friends. But if you can time it right, you're okay. The problem is, again, what's the worst part about the Medusa heads? It's not their obnoxious up and down pattern. It's the fact they never stop coming. And then you commit unforced errors like I just did. And when you jump, guess what? You jump a little too much and you jump over the platform you wanted to get onto. So you do avoid the stupid Medusa head, but still die because you missed. You did a Adrian Peterson or something. I don't know. You missed, whatever it is. Bottom line. And for a note, spear knights only take 2 hits. I may have mentioned that in the intro. Who can forget the Axe Knight takes 9 hits? Yeah, well, we'll get to that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, and God forbid. Oh, boy. Yep, and occasionally you'll still make it. Like the Medusa head will knock you backwards, so to speak, but it'll be far enough across the, divide between the 2 platforms and land on the platform you wanted to land on anyway, but take that small amount of damage from the hit of the Medusa head. Pardon me. I'm just messing around. I'm talking like Sid Hartman here. Yes, Minnesota sports reference again. I'd be a very old columnist that lived to the age of 100 and was still a columnist despite the fact he was insanely limited, as any human being would probably be at age 100. Just imagine me still doing this podcast at age 100. Might happen. It might happen. If the Lord tarries, it might happen. So anyhow, moving platforms and such. Here, it's not as much of a hazard as it could be a nuisance. You could fall through both crevices and end up dying. That'd be fun. Be great. But welcome to Castlevania in that case. Yep. Level 2, and it's already getting like way harder because of those frickin' Medusa heads. There's also instant death warnings coming up ahead. Always, though, make note, very often, it's not the case here. Oh, yes, it is, but it's too late. I screwed up because you don't have a super jump. Shoot. Well, you get to the next door. You want to, before you fall off the big ledge and continue on with the game, hack away at the ledge, like the step, so to speak. There's a pork chop. Unfortunately, I had already fallen to the next level, and it's too far down for me to jump up and grab the pork chop, because Simon can't jump as high as, say, like other characters in other video games, and he sure as heck can't walk as fast either. Though I would take his vertical. Don't get me wrong. When you consider the height, when you consider he's maybe 6 foot tall, and you're jumping about 6 feet in the air, or 7. Yeah, I take that vertical. He'd be dunking on a 13-foot basketball rim. So, yeah, I don't know. It just feels weird, though. That must be one heck of a high ledge. Anyhow, most of you would probably guess this by just seeing it. If you've never played the game before, when you see these spike thromp things coming downward, you will die in one hit. It is not a... It doesn't do a small amount of damage. You will die immediately. So time it right. The pattern is not great, and you can easily screw up. I do believe you can walk on them, but I don't even want to right now because it's not that interesting. Yeah, the most annoying one is the second one that doesn't come down all the way. Yay, I can get the pork chop now, but I got killed in one hit by the bleeping thromp. So, yeah. You do have unlimited continues in this game. At least I'm 99.9% sure you do. It's just that it sucks. You have to keep playing the same damn level again and again and again because you keep screwing up, like I did a couple times already. Then again, you do have save states, which will come in handy. I have not used that option just yet, other than to continue to level 2 at this point. So that's as far as I've gone so far. Like, say, like you want to just continue, like walk away from the game. There's a double shot if you go all the way to the lower ledge after dealing with all that. And then you get your first skull tower, I guess they call it, interesting form. And these are throughout several Castlevania games for many years, including Symphony of the Night and beyond, which came at least 10 years after the original Castlevania. That's right, 1997. Now we're starting to get to taller like windows and such. I believe that means we're getting closer and closer to the real Medusa head, the queen of the Medusa heads herself, the real Medusa, the one that looks kind of like, Friday the 13th mom, so to speak. That would be Jason Voorhees. Yep, it's a Medusa head, big giant one. Keep walking to the left. The boss battle begins, and enjoy the boss music yet again, folks. battle hath begunneth. Well, I have the holy water. I'm not sure how helpful it is. Yeah, you can. Oh, there's a triple shot. But yeah, if you can get her to kind of get stuck in the holy water, she has no chance of survival. And that was it. So that's what's good about the holy water. You can rapid fire. Once they're stuck there, it starts with an F and ends with a K, E-D. Once they're stuck there, yeah, you get the idea. And you win pretty easily most of the time. So on to level 3, the Mummies. Ooh, and one of the most popular songs in the game called Wicked Child. Ooh, do enjoy. Do enjoy. Absolutely exquisite. Did I mention the music in Castlevania is good? Yeah, it's really good. The Angry Video Game Nerd, you can tell this is his favorite song in the game because he plays it over and over and over again in his review, which I will recommend right here and right now. It came out in about 2009. Yeah, it did come out in 2009 when the Vikings were having a magical season and Brett Favre was the quarterback and we almost went to the Super Bowl and we found a way to choke. Yeah, that year. But it was a very fun fall and early winter that year. It truly was. And I played a lot of Castlevania and got really good at it, actually, because like just watching those at the Nerd, it was so much fun. Like me and my friend Paul beat Castlevania 1. He was much better at the Axe Knight situation than I was, and then I basically was the one that beat Castlevania 3. We'll get back to that one. Holy hard. Castlevania 2, again, is all about timing. The game itself is extremely easy, but it's about timing everything. That's the hard part of that game, but the actual fights and stuff are like stupid easy. It's more of like a strategy, I don't know. I wouldn't even call it. It's like simulation strategy RPG. Like Dracula's stupid easy, the Grim Reaper's stupid easy. It's not about fighting the Grim Reaper. That's really the challenge in that game. Though occasionally there's some really dumb jumps and stuff that can kill you. You know, you miss basically that kind of thing and timing your jumps. But the actual boss fights in this game versus that one are funnily, insanely different. But now again, this is where the game's architecture gets really funny, like stairs to nowhere and such. Must be built by certain politicians that will leave it somewhere else, that just want to make money off of projects rather than, actually build something necessary. That's all it really is. But they created jobs, though, by doing that. Don't you forget. Anyhow, in my case, because of luck and stuff, Triple Shot has appeared right at the start of the level. So I'll take it. I don't anticipate anything super special happening at this stage, but at least I'm hanging in there and playing pretty well, if I do say so myself, which I probably am saying myself. Most people would watch and say, he's not doing jack. But, this is where you see those obnoxious munchkin things. Some people call them fleas, some call them munchkins, some people think they're little monkeys. But then there's that stupid ghost that you have to hit like 4 times, and it's annoying as hell. You can lose lives very easily at the beginning of this level because of that, or at least lose 2 or 3, like half to 3/4 of your freaking power right away. And then you get the jumping crazy skeleton. Those are always fun to deal with as well. The difficulty of this game really jumps at you very quickly. Level 1 to level 2, huge difference. Level 2 to level 3, huge difference. Enjoy. And then you get the stupid ravens. You got a time when they come at you. Sometimes they come at you, sometimes they don't. But eventually they're going to. least most important item in this game would be the money bags, I guess, unless you're hoping to get an extra guy and all that. But I don't know. I don't like my chances the way I'm going at the moment, to be quite fair. I will note an insanely effective way to get rid of the munchkins, and probably the ghost as well, is the holy water. Holy water. It's wonderful. You're still going to miss sometimes, but if they get trapped, well, what did I say happens to them? It starts with an F and ends with an ED. Yes, they're done. So there's that. Unfortunately, you're still probably going to get hit unless you're one of those legendary gamers that can play this game without getting hit once. Yeah, I have no idea. It's somebody probably with more time than most of us on their hands, or they just were really good at it and they played the game religiously from their youth and into their teens and all that good stuff. That's the only explanation I could come up with. Another major note, when you're around stairs, say with a pitfall beneath you, make sure you are pressing down as you're walking, because if you don't, you will walk off the ledge, not go onto the stairs. It is not automatic, and you will die. And you will be very, 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 very upset. So make note of that. I'm going to do my best to hang on to the holy water, because I can't imagine a slow-moving mummy is going to do well against holy water. I mean, just put two and two together. Like, hello, loop, loop. Yeah, like throwing an axe at a grounded creature that doesn't jump and stuff. Yeah, just holy water. Just let them burn, baby, burn. Yeah, that's kind of the idea. But, of course, Medusa heads are back, and the game's... The fun leaves the game real quickly when Medusa heads arrive, and they spoil a lot of the fun in the game, to be quite fair. That's how much I feel about Medusa heads. So the angry video game nerd, eat your heart out on that one, no doubt.
And then, of course, there's those enemies that just fly across the screen, like the Medusa heads and the bats.
Try your best to avoid picking up the axe or the stopwatch along the way, because obviously that can happen very easily. If you have the holy water versus the mummies, your chances are very good as long as your power is reasonably full, like your energy, so to speak. So, because I already said it enough. The holy water is going to do much more damage versus the mummies than pretty much anything else. So it's kind of like a common sense type of thing in a lot of ways. It'll also help against those annoying, like skull towers, as people like to call them, and pretty much anything else along the way. The only problem is they're a little bit slow out of the gate. That's about it, really, at the end of the day. An interesting strategy with the ravens also is that they tend to hesitate. So try to pick them off when they hesitate. That's kind of a good strategy. Try not to just kind of stop. They kind of come, they hesitate, and then you just, boom, kill them in one hit. So holy water does kill them in one hit also, not by them just burning, going to the ground, but the holy water touching them in the air as well can get them. So pretty cool. Most of the time you probably wanting to go long range with the whip. Sorry. What's annoying as heck is the Medusa heads return right as you're getting near the end of the level. It's so annoying. It's like, give me a break. You finally you see the mummies in the not too distant. Also, watch out for the dagger right before you get to the mummies. Talk about a dagger. That's the definition of a dagger, folks. So yeah, watch out for the dagger, because you're going to be pissed. So it's literally the candle as you're leading into the mummy area. Yeah, just wait. Hesitate when you hit the candle. That's kind of the best way to approach things. Hesitate when you hit candles, for the most part, unless you know exactly what's there and you want it. That type of thing. Because if you get the dagger, you're going to be daggered. You're going to be disappointed. Because I don't know. Mummies don't move fast. Fire and mummies, not a good combination for the mummy. It's just not. Common sense type of thing. Like, oh, I can't move. Oh, darn, I feel so bad. Yeah, see? And that's where the holy water is the most valuable sub-weapon in the game most of the time. Most of the time. For certain monsters, it just doesn't help, like bats and stuff. But for most of the major bosses, holy water helps a lot, including the final Dracula form. Like the first Dracula form, it doesn't help. But the second one, it does. Frankenstein doesn't move real fast. Duh. Now you fall down into the catacombs, the catacombs, it's like an abyss or whatever, and it's going to be Frankenstein. It's alive! Yeah, it's alive, all right. It is. Check out the music, baby. very early in the level, there is a stopwatch, so be aware of that if you don't want to switch off of the holy water. But yeah, that's not the real hazard in this level. There's about 100 million hazards in this level. It's not easy. The moving platform over the water, stuff coming out of the water, bats coming at you. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, this is when the game gets criminally hard, and this still isn't the super duper hard part of the game yet, like the Axe Knight level. Yeah, and the part where like you see skulls and stuff as you're jumping onto the moving platform, you can't walk on the skulls. That's in the background. Yeah, parts you have to duck underneath the dangerous spiky kind of ceiling. That too. It's so much fun, but it's a great game. It's just stupidly criminally hard. That's all. It's just so bleeping hard. It makes you want to cry your eyes out. But again, always watch out with the candles if you don't want to change the sub-weapon, because it will change on you and you're screwed. Again, make the note. Again and again and again. You cannot walk on the skulls. You can't. So it's really not a good thing. Did I go into some kind of special stage here? No, I didn't. This is normal. It's these eagles coming out dropping these ugly munchkin sons of biscuits, which are really annoying. Why did the music change? I guess it just did. It's like level 2 music, but I'm getting virtually annihilated by these stupid munchkins from these getting dropped from these eagles. Oh boy, what is going on here? I don't remember this at all. I have no memory of playing this, but I don't know. It's a bonus level, right? I'm going to make $1 million if I beat it, because this is impossibly hard. Oh, yay. Then you get the skeletons coming out of the wall, dragon neck type of thingy. It gives you 1,000,000 hearts, but who cares? That doesn't really help a whole lot when your power is almost completely drained. It is interesting how you go back to level... yep. It is interesting how you go back to... see, this looks much more familiar. You even see this in the intro of the game. All these skeletons and stuff, these dragon skeleton thingies. There is a pork chop, woohoo, stores you a little bit. Again, like when you can hack at the walls, the bricks, so to speak, that's where pork chops tend to hang out at times. So, there is that. Major thing to consider. Pray to God that there's another holy water along the way if you happen to lose a sub-weapon, which just might have happened just recently. So, we'll have to wait and see. I do believe there is a holy water right here in this room, as I do believe I'm nearing the boss fight already. So, that's the one good thing about some of these older games. They're a little smaller. Nope, I don't see any holy water at the moment. So, I'm crying for a holy God at this stage. But welcome to Castlevania. Nothing easy about it, folks. Nothing easy about it. It's unbelievable. Fighting Frankenstein with holy water versus without holy water. It's unbelievable, the difficulty. You can't really beat him without it, pretty much. I mean, you can, but it's almost impossible as far as I'm concerned. With the holy water, he's actually insanely easy, but getting to Frankenstein with holy water is the true challenge of this level. If you can somehow pull it off, you are doing a fantastic job. By the grace of God, I was able to do that. And I'll be honest, a little bit of save stating, not as much as you might think, but a little bit, just to kind of help boost things along the way. But not as much as you might expect. Now we get to go to the stone level where the Axe Knights awaiteth, and of course the Grim Reaper himself. Holy cow, we're talking true difficulty at this point now. This is when the game truly gets criminally impossible. It's not fun anymore, is it? But yeah, being able to actually honestly survive the Munchkin and the Eagle area was truly a challenge. The trick though is just keep moving as fast as you can and hit those Munchkins as fast as you can. You know, hit them right away. Do the best you can. Try not to hesitate. Try not to worry. Just swing and hit them as quick as possible with your whip. And that's how you could actually survive that area without, getting killed, and then you'd lose the holy water. And of course, again, be careful with the candles. Don't just walk right under them right away, not knowing what's going to come out, because there is a knife along the way when you're fighting along those, those dragon skeleton necks that come out of the wall, whatever. So those things aren't too hard. Just keep hacking away. But oftentimes there is one magic bullet that gets through, which is really frustrating. But thankfully, like I may have mentioned earlier, there is a pork chop along the way as you're getting very close to Frankenstein. And with the holy water, he's very, 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 very beatable. Again, now we are at the stone kind of level where we get to fight the Axe Knights. Holy cow. Do enjoy. Some guys even refer to this as the alchemy lab, but whatever it is, it's a tough one. In a lot of ways, it's the catacombs. In a lot of ways, it looks like a prison. You got stuff hanging from the walls where it looks like people's arms were hung up and such. It looks like a wonderful place. You know, some place you just want to hang out sometime. Yeah, not really. You have the obnoxious munchkins or whatever the heck they're called harassing you the entire level. You have the skeletons and such. Heck, your power might be drained halfway before you even get it through the first screen practically. It's pretty ridiculous, to say the least. Honestly, the most obnoxious part of those munchkins, or whatever you want to call them, is the fact they can drain 4 of your bars. It's ridiculous. Just one little hit from those guys, you're pretty much screwed. It takes about 1/4 of your energy right out of the gate. So, pretty stupid. The skeletons are the same ones you see in millions of in every Castlevania game you've ever played, pretty much, with the exception of some of the really crummy ones. Honestly, your best bet when you get onslaughted at the very beginning of the level by those stupid munchkins, if you're fortunate enough to have holy water, throw it. It'll take care of the bleepers, and you have a real chance at something. The skeleton by the stairs is a real headache as well, though. Just the way he times his moves and the bones he throws and such. He's got a bone to pick with you. So, yep. And then he also respawns on occasion if you're super unlucky. Oh boy. Honest to God, the number one strategy for this level from start to finish is patience. Obviously, I love the scenery in a level like this. You see some of the scenery anyway. It looks like the catacombs, this and that, alchemy labs, whatever the heck it is. It's definitely a catacomb, like a prison type of area. As, you have skeletons everywhere, live and dead skeletons, or undead is probably properly a way to say it. Everything seems to be moving faster around here. Again, patience, patience, patience is the key. Open for the better weapons to be found, and watch out for potential respawning enemies, because that's going to drive you absolutely nuts as you continue the level. Oftentimes, of course, you want to pick off the enemies before worrying about candles or this or that. And of course, single hearts they're nice to have, but I mean, it's not the end of the world if you get it or not. Of course, you get the red skeletons now that are similar to Symphony of the Night or whatever, where they come back, unfortunately. So that's always super annoying. You just want to keep moving, basically, if you see those kind of guys. Then there's candles way up on the moon. How could you possibly reach it? A bit up, obviously, right after the red skeletons. Hack away at the ledge that's kind of in the middle of the area, you could say, and you will get a pork chop, as they call it. I don't know, a turkey leg, whatever. It's a pork chop, but it's a turkey leg, but it's a pork chop. I don't know. It's something. It's food, dang it. And you feel better after you eat it and stuff. So you continue to the next door, so on and so forth. Technically, it's called stage 14. So I guess, I don't know. I've always wondered why, but it's cool. But now you start seeing the Axe Knights. Now you start seeing the Axe Knights, and they take, as the AVGN would say, 9 bleeping times to kill. We're not at the actual Axe Knight room yet. This is like a prequel as to what's coming. But this is when the game gets criminally difficult from here on forward. So, well, take some of that, what's his name, Billy Mitchell hot sauce, and put it on your tongue and get going, baby. As mentioned probably a million times, well, in the AVGN video, but we're listening to Video Game Flashback, dang it. You can check the AVGN video later. The Axe Knights throw the axes at 2 different levels, up and down, basically your standing level and your crouching level. So basically, I recommend crouching as you hack away at the Sons of Biscuits, and Paul Caniff, as we get to the hardest room of all coming up soon, came up with the idea of crouching as you're walking. You know, crouch, walk a little bit, crouch, walk a little bit, crouch. When you get the Double Trouble room of Axe Knights and Medusa heads, it's obviously the most famous room probably in the entire game because of that reason. It's impossible almost. So, yeah. And another super annoying hazard that the AVGN brings up Castlevania 3 is the bleeping stairs. But that could happen in this first room as well when you first start seeing the Axe Knights with that blankety-blank munchkin guy as well. So watch out for the stairs as you're trying to hack away at the knight, because you might accidentally start walking up the stairs and you're pretty much defenseless. You can't crouch down and the axe hits you, and that takes 1/4 of your power. Not worth it, eh? Interestingly, though, with the very first night, I generated a glitch. I got him to literally walk off the screen and disappear. So from, you know, to the left, to the right of the screen, you're coming from the left, and he walked off the screen. Not sure I can do this with the second one. It's probably going to be much more difficult to defeat with the, you know, right up the stairs a bit. So, yeah, it's the fun part of the game, baby. And that one does not officially disappear off the screen. He can kind of disappear, but he comes back. That one does not disappear. So, okay, well, good to know. Good to know. One thing to note, though, with that second night, you know, on the second platform, so to speak, or third platform, whatever you'd want to call it, second platform, it is third platform. When he is kind of, phasing in and out of the screen, basically, you know, out of the left side of the screen, he's much more vulnerable to getting hit. He's actually less likely to throw an axe. So just keep hacking away. Just take advantage of it. I mean, they gave you the advantage, so use it. That kind of thing. Like, say if a referee isn't calling holding in a football game, well, whatever. Just hold, I guess. It's not cheating. It's just cheating, you know? It's just cheating, but it's not cheating. But, yeah, kind of like the Houston Astros. But that's another story. We'll leave them alone for now. The next room, you start getting some more interesting scenery with the caskets. Ooh, caskets up above with a red skeleton. Oh, goody. The ones that don't die? Yeah, those. Yeah, they're annoying. Luckily, they're not as active and fast as like the grayer colored skeletons. But, well, they come back, though. So, yeah. Well, it is what it is. You just keep walking and keep walking. And now we get, I believe we're headed to that infamous hallway. The Axe Knights and the Medusas. Get ready for the hardest part of the game. Maybe you might want to save state. Maybe you want to play it like hardcore Mr. Perfectionist. Maybe you have holy water and you want to chuck that out and hope for the best. Get them trapped into that. But 9 hits. 9 hits. They can kill you in 4. You can't kill them without 9 hits. So get your gaming intensity rocking and rolling, because this is it. Another false alarm. Gosh, it's just, but we are getting closer and closer to it, and it's starting to look more and more like an alchemy lab now, where Dracula was doing God knows what with human beings. There is a double trouble effect, though. It's kind of like a prequel to the super hard part. Red Skeleton. Those are much slower, and you can kind of deal with the Axe Knight as you are dealing with the Red Skeleton coming up behind you. So, yeah. Okay, well, I've learned another strategy that works insanely well. So, like, say, the stairwell leading down to where the Axe Knight and the Red Skeleton is, if you have holy water, by God's grace, throw the holy water up the stairs, and you can eventually kind of trap the knight in the fire, basically, and he's gone. So, yeah, awesome. So that's a huge step forward for all of us going forward, because we're the greatest gamers in the history of Nintendo, right? Well, we're trying to be. So again, like when you bump into, say, like even like say if you see an axe or something, avoid it. You're going to want holy water no matter what, I think, especially when you're talking about death coming up, because not only do you got to get past the Axe Knight, the infamous Axe Knight Hall, but you got Death too. So Death is not easy in this game. He's very easy in Castlevania 2, but Castlevania 2 is not about the bosses. It's about finding everything you need and completing the game in a certain amount of time. It's a strategy RPG for the most part. It's more of a strategy action RPG kind of in a lot of ways. So I don't know. It's what it is. Unfortunately, going up the stairs to the next Axe Knight you see with the holy water is not going to work. So just like earlier in the first room when you first saw Axe Knights. So make note of that. It's what it is. It's but from above you can potentially take care of the son of a biscuit, and you'll feel a lot better. It's plop plop fizz fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. It's the Alka-Seltzer of sub-weapons at Castlevania. It just is. And an Axe Knight like this that keeps backing away as fast as possible, you're literally counting the hits. 1, 2, 3, please. This knight, though, is super easy if you just move forward. This one, you just simply move forward, and he gets backed against the corner, literally, and can't do anything about it, and you just whack, 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 whack. So, praise the Lord for that. Yeah, rock and roll. Avoid the stupid idiot red skeleton who could rain on your parade. Like, say you're doing well, and then he hits you. So, watch out for the annoying red skeleton as you're about to head to the next door, and maybe this is finally the Room of Destiny. Well, we shall see. I will emphasize yet again, avoid any other sub-weapons. Keep the holy water. Keep the holy water. Keep the... Yeah, you get the idea. Ugh, it's stupid bone pillar time. Ugh, I wish we could just move on to the main, challenge of the levels of these annoying stupid rooms with these stupid bone pillars. Ugh. The ones that shoot fire at you. They're so annoying. And they take like 20 hits. Yeah, great. And then you get one of the dumbest effects ever. You can't use the holy water in the frickin' bone pillar because holy water disappears when there's like a door or whatever nearby, even though it's just in the background. Yeah, it's really annoying. It's an effect that takes place in Castlevania 2, but apparently in Castlevania 1 as well at this part. How quaint. But I better just stop complaining. If you can get high enough without getting too high, and I don't mean weed, but high enough on the ladders, hack away at the stupid bone pillar and his fire won't hit you. So yeah, it's not that bad. And before you go up the stairs to what is the Room of Destiny, it is confirmed, the Room of Destiny. There is a pork chop in the wall, ladies and gentlemen. So wonderful to know there's a pork chop in the wall to the far right, on the second platform, so to speak. And then head up to the Room of Destiny because it's time for the battle with the Axe Knights and the Medusa heads, and then ultimately Death himself. Oh yeah.
The hardest part in the entire game, besides Dracula, is the hall right before the Grim Reaper. You have Medusa heads coming at you from both directions, and 2 knights throwing axes at 2 different altitudes. I mean, look at the pattern going on here. Anything that hits you drains 1/4 of your health, so that means 4 hits and you're dead. Oh, but the knights take 9 hits. 9 fucking hits. You can't even concentrate on attacking them because you're too busy dodging Medusas. But you can't dodge the Medusas because you're too busy dodging the axes. But you can't dodge the axes because you're trying to hit the knight. But you can't hit the knight because the game's driving you fucking crazy. It's like a test. It's a test to the shit.
The strategy is exactly what I've been babbling and repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating. It's crouch down, because when you're crouching down and hacking away, even if you're making contact with the knight or not, you will be making contact with those bleeping Medusa heads. Patience, my friends, patience. And it is a beautiful room in terms of, the background's very interesting. You get the red curtains in the background. Very, very Castlevania-like, of course. Imagine that. Diamond-shaped kind of, not literally diamonds, but giant diamond-shaped tiles in the background. Big, like, window-looking things. I don't know if it's supposed to be a mirror or not, but it's pretty cool. But it's the Hall of Destiny in terms of Castlevania 1, because it's pretty much the hardest regular part of the game, so to speak, non-boss related. Dracula himself is harder, believe me. And Death is pretty much about the same difficulty as Dracula and this hall. So, yeah, it's all kind of about relatively super-duper hard. The incredible frustration of this level is when you miss with the Medusa heads. It is just mind-numbing because you're probably going to get hit. And, yeah. So just your timing, your patience, this and that is essential here. Let me tell you, though, an interesting other way to go about it is if you get frustrated and say, bleep this, holy water. Kind of jump, maybe take a hit or so, get the holy water down, and the knights die much faster. Like, say, when they're trapped, hack away. It only takes maybe a hit or so because the holy water's doing a ton of damage as you go. So interesting. So death himself has cometh. The most frustrating part about death is those scythes. They can just kind of stop in midair and just kind of hack away at you. So, whoo, boy. The strategy with him is just try your best with the holy water, hack away, and pray for the best. You know, just try to get lucky, I guess. It's almost kind of like that. Yep, you know, try to trap him with the holy water. Hack, 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 and avoid the scythes. It is what it is. It's easier said than done. No doubt about that, laddie. It's literally you try to trap him with holy water, and then hack away at the hack away at the. You can tell I'm relieved. Hack away at the scythes that are still floating around as you are casting, as you're throwing the holy water. You can also hack away at the scythes that might be nearby. And once he's trapped, he's trapped. He can't release more scythes. So if you keep trapping, you got him. Again, easier said than done, but what an amazing relief, and we're on our way to finality, baby. Ah, yes, you're in what appears to be a courtyard or above it or something. Interesting stuff, and be careful. Don't get the axe unless you want to, well, if you want the axe, so be it. There is an axe on the candle pretty much to the farthest left. Watch out for that if you want to hang on to the holy water, which I recommend. I think it's going to make the rest of the game easy. Well, not the rest of the game, but the future bosses easier. You're going to run into those bats that you found, like the big bats. At the beginning of the game, he's the first boss in the game. There's a bunch of them as you're walking across this bridge type balcony, basically you could call it. So avoid them if you can, kill them if you can, whatever. I wouldn't mess around with them. I suppose the axe could be viable for them, but I don't know. I just want to hang on to the holy water, doggone it. So that's kind of how I approach things here. Just maybe try to avoid them if you can. The good news is they don't move particularly fast, and of course there's like a million ways to die here. You get bumped once, you could fall into the pit and, like fall over the edge basically. So be careful for the same old story of difficulty. That's what Castlevania 1 is all about, not getting knocked into a pit basically. Another annoying thing to note is that the bats do shoot fire if you screw around long enough, so that's something to worry about as well. And they're insanely accurate. Accurate enough, like it just finds a way to hit you, you know what I mean? It's wonderful stuff. And when it hits you, what happens? You fall in the pit and you're dead in one hit. I made a rhyme. So yeah, be careful about that type of thing, of course. The second bat that's kind of like flying below the balcony, as we might want to call it, or bridge or whatever, is you're just going to have to be patient and maybe toss the holy water and hopefully get him caught, and you can whack away at the bat and kill him before he can fire shots at you. And yeah, the first bat you can avoid, the second one you kind of can't. So yeah. Make note, the first candle you see after you kind of cross the balcony, so to speak, is a stopwatch. So make note of that if you don't want to change from holy water or whatever sub-weapon you may have. If you don't want to change from it, avoid it, that type of thing. So you can hit it, but just be careful. Don't walk right into it, that type of deal. And the final bat, just kind of try to sprint past it, like beeline it to the door. Like, don't even waste your time. He's going to hit you, so just go. Hell with it. I've also learned the hard way. Go up the stairs right away, otherwise an eagle is going to come with a bunch of munchkins and you're going to be pissed. It's going to screw you up real good. So don't even waste your time. Like basically like the title of this episode is like, running out of time. Yeah, you kind of are. And the music makes you like nervous too, which is real nice. Like, thanks Castlevania for making the music. So, like hurry up, move. Okay, thanks, I'm doing that. Blankety blank you. In the next screen, when you get two like skeletons throwing bones at you, which is annoying as hell. Once you're fortunate enough to beat the first one, if you go all the way to the left, do not whip the wall, because it will crack on the other side and you'll get the pork chop, but you can't reach it yet and you will have wasted it. So do not do that. Be very, very cognizant when you come to this area. And as you do reach to that further left area after you get through the second skeleton, oh, it gets really hard, like hard as hell. The eagles keep respawning, dropping munchkins over and over and over again. So, ooh, try to keep moving. As they say, you know, like not enough time, or whatever the heck the title of this song is. Amazingly, not long after that, though, after messing around the stairs and such and avoiding all those obnoxious eagles and munchkins, if you are able to survive and all that good stuff, oh my, the music changes and you notice there's a stairway up, and then it's the iconic scene of iconic scenes in the history of Castlevania. You climb up the stairs, you see the crescent moon, and guess who's up there? Count Dracula himself. And as you continue forward, you do want to build up your hearts, as the AVGN would say, and many other gamers, I'm sure. The first candle is a cross. It's up to you if you want it or not. It's like boomerang cross thingy. It's up to you if you want that. I will stick with the holy water as we head into Dracula, because it's the second form of Dracula, also known as the evil cookie monster. Just messing around with that one. Holy water comes in insanely handy. The first Dracula, of course, you're gonna, well, the main regular Dracula we know, you basically have to jump and hit him in the head and time everything perfectly as you're, and time everything perfectly as you avoid the fire. You want to make sure the fire is just coming straight, not upward, because you will get hit if it's going upward. It's unavoidable. So kind of learn to time everything properly. And the most tedious part of all is, again, you can only hit them once at a time with the fire type of deal. And it takes one tiny little bar for each hit. Oh, I do believe there's also a holy water option in the room. It's just the fact that I already have holy water, it won't show. So that's kind of the thing. But I'm not going to chance it by getting the boomerang first. So I'm not going to do that. Build things up with the hearts and so on and so forth. Try to get your hearts up as far as possible without, going overboard. Luckily, if you're as fortunate as I am, you'll have the triple shot. Otherwise, you can use the cross, throwing it at the candles and stuff over and over and over again with the cross, particularly as you're picking up the hearts. That'll actually give you a chance to get a double and triple shot, which then will save you oodles and oodles and oodles of hearts. So, like, we could throw 3, whatever, holy water or crosses with use of 1 heart. That's the whole point of the double and triple shots. If I didn't even mention that once the entire game review, I feel like a moron, and I apologize. But in case I did, I'm repeating myself. Oh darn, that's a good thing to repeat as we go forward and hope to beat this evil SOB and move on to Castlevania 2 someday. And I did confirm and check, yes, the very final candle, like the farthest left of the room, is holy water. So no matter what you do throughout the game, you don't have to panic if you lose holy water. It's still nice to have throughout the game no matter what, but you can get it in the final room of in the final battle with Dracula, so to speak. The first form of Dracula, ultimately, but you fight, the Cookie Monster version as well after you eventually beat the more classical-looking Dracula. And of course, building up hearts, you have to go up and down the stairs where they respawn. You know what I mean? Rinse and repeat type of deal. If I didn't mention that earlier, I deeply apologize. But yeah, I hope you kind of understood that already. You kind of understood what I meant, because hearts don't just restore on their own. You have to actually, walk off the screen and come back. Luckily, you're in no danger until you walk all the way to the left of the screen. Then you can't go back, and Dracula appears, and it's on. So, yeah, major importance there. Mucho importante, or all that good stuff. After paying attention closely, the trick is approach Dracula from a moderate distance. Try not to be too close or too far. Kind of, like 3, 4 or 5 blocks, we'll say, on the ground. Once his hands go up, approach him and swing the whip. And odds are that you're going to get over the fire and hit him in the head. And keep doing it over and over and over again. That's the best strategy I've been able to come up with Once his hands come up, that's when you approach him. Anything before or after will result in either a miss or getting hit or both. So that's a strategy for this insanely tedious battle. Another major thing is do not stand in one place, because he'll just appear on top of you and you're kind of bleeped at that point. You're going to get hit. So remember, you can only get hit 4 total times. So if you get hit once, maybe you can beat the quote-unquote Cookie Monster. You get hit twice, you might as well, I don't know, whatever you do, reset, or, you know, just let yourself go and all that good stuff. The good news, again, you're pretty much, once you're here, you're here. Just keep trying, basically, that type of thing. When you continue, so to speak, you'll continue at the stairs. That's the good news. Not like Castlevania 3 is the meanest of the bunch. You'll have to start at the beginning of the level and beat 3 forms of Dracula, which is freaking stupid. But yeah, so, and if you do die, so to speak, like especially if you get game over, you can reset, you can rebuild all the hearts and everything, and even have the holy water if you want it, or the cross if you want it, and build all the way up to even a triple shot, this and that, so on and so forth. So yep, keep moving, keep moving. That's the key. Another key to beating this that's not impossible, but insanely difficult Dracula, if you're not used to it, so to speak. And if you are blessed enough to watch the guy's head fly to the moon, get ready for the battle with the Cookie Monster. Cue insanely difficult battle, and cue the music for the final boss. Unfortunately, having the holy water doesn't guarantee anything, just to let you know. Drop the holy water, but then hack at the guy's mouth. Hopefully you'll be able to prevent the fire coming your direction, so try to get the timing right as best possible. Drop holy water, and then hack at the guy's mouth, and then you may have a chance in this insanely difficult battle. Obviously, try your best to stay away from the edges as best possible. Try to get underneath them if you can without getting hit. It's not easy to do. Yeah, it's one of those kind of things, but it's pretty much drop the water and then hack like one or 2 or 3 times, and then get ready to drop the next holy water, and try to avoid getting hit when you get to the edge, because you got to try to walk underneath his jump. Try to time all that as best as possible, and you might have a chance at ultimate glory in Castlevania 1 for the Nintendo Entertainment System. The cool part is he does give it away a lot of times. Like, say, when he's about to jump, you can see his feet starting to move, and that's where you got to back up a little bit, and he raises his hands when he's about to cast the fire. So, yeah, be cognizant of that, of course. Hack away at the mouth when he's going to shoot the fire and all that, and hopefully wipe them out before he can get you. And then you win the day, like I just did, and you feel like $100 million. And you get to hear this sound when you grab the orb and watch your power finally replenish, because your power was not replenished before you got to fight the Cookie Monster. But of course it wasn't. It's the way it is. You're in the middle of a battle. They're not going to be that nice, are they? Enjoy the sound of the orb. And then sit back and listen to the ending music as you get to see some comical cast members from Bram Stoker's Dracula. Obviously, they're not writing the real names, because I don't know if it's copyright infringement, or they're just trying to be funny, or all the above. But enjoy. Of course, you also get to see the castle crumble. That's a very important aspect of Castlevania, watching the castle crumble when you beat the game. So it's always a great feeling. Castlevania 1, 3, and all that. So Trans Fishers, of course, that's one of the funny names. James Banana, Bram Stoker. James Banana, huh? Christopher B. Yep, the nerd had fun with that one. What, he's a B? Okay. Belo Lugosi. Boris Karloffitz. All right. Love Cheney Jr. Barbara Sherry, Nix, Shurix, Love Cheney, okay. Green Stranger, Calf Bar Raid, yep. Andre Noral, June Candies, yep, again, these are all, yeah. Simon Belmondo, and that's the hero. Simon Belmondo instead of Simon Belmont, that's funny. You played the greatest role in this story. Thank you for playing. You're welcome, and thank you. That was very enjoyable. Insanely difficult. I was crying and cursing my head off half of the time, but very enjoyable. A very enjoyable NES game. Very iconic. Something I respect and enjoy so very much. Did I do this justice compared to what a certain other podcast did many years ago? Well, several years ago. Not that many years ago, and I was annoyed the way they winged it. Like, they literally winged Castlevania when I was waiting and hoping so much for a great show. Yeah, I believe, again, it was Halloween 2018. I was doing a lawn service, obviously. I was doing lawns out there on that day before going to regular work. And it's like, okay, I get to listen to a Castlevania NES game review. This must be absolutely wonderful. And they milked the whole dang thing. So hopefully this review has done it justice. Obviously, the review isn't completely over because my final commentary and then continuing on into the, we'll call it feedback segment, which is coming right up here in a second, where you get to hear what people, you out there, thought about Castlevania. Pardon me. We have a new hashtag now, and I'm going to get to that in a moment here. But at the end of the day, this game, again, it is iconic. You can make fun of me, whoever they were at the time, all they want. Some of the guests that came on the show, which basically were like, rah, your show's great, and this guy's an a-hole. So I'm an a-hole, I guess. At the end of the day, I don't care. It's... Hey, just giving my opinion. It's not like I gave them 1 star. I gave them 3, So it just, Alberto Casanova followed. Okay, interesting. Yep, luckily there is some interaction, some feedback. And yes, the actual hashtag, you're going to see it in the show description anyway, but I better say it right here and right now. Hashtag VG Flashback. It's all one thing, obviously. So that's the new hashtag, because the other one was bringing up it was bringing up Finnish hockey. Not that I have anything against hockey from Finland, because obviously there's plenty of Finland players. There's plenty of great Finnish hockey players. Mikko Koivu played for the Minnesota Wild. Me and Derek have our opinions on him, and the Minnesota Wild fans have a different opinion, I guess. The typical Minnesota Wild fan out there thought he was the greatest thing ever. He's okay. I mean, he's good, I guess, but we didn't worship him, that type of thing. Didn't really necessarily think the number should be retired, but that's a completely different topic. I apologize. There I go, messing up this show. See, I'm just winging it. I'm just gonna wing it. Yeah, Castlevania is a good game. Yeah, so I got some wood for my fire pit today. Oh, sorry. That's basically what that show was like. I still couldn't believe it, honest to God. But again, it is iconic. As far as I'm concerned, I'm going to stick with that point of view. I also did get a 7-Eleven hat, thanks to the really cool guy there, awesome guy. I didn't even get his name, which is really sad. Very close to me as, what do they call it? Speedway. It's been purchased by 7-Eleven. I think eventually they'll be turned into 7-Elevens. I'm not sure what decade, but eventually they will be. Just like Super America eventually became Speedway when it was Speedway like 7 years before or something. But 7-Eleven hat with a Pac-Man thing. So if I ever do some videos, I'll be wearing that. That's going to be my hat. He gave it to me for free because the price wouldn't show up. It's like wasn't showing up in the system. He said, just take it, buddy. So coolest guy ever. So just give him a quick shout out in a sense. So close by here in Golden Valley. Really, really, really cool hat. So I posted that on the Twitter or X account at VGF_podcast for that. Again, final thoughts. This is like 5s all around. 5s in replay value, 5s in graphics, 5s in music, 5s in overall gameplay. The only minus in the gameplay is it's very stiff. Of course, that's been an ongoing complaint in Castlevania NES games. But just the whole feel of the game is a 5.0, like perfect grade. This is a world-class side-scrolling NES video game. It is. It is a world-class game. So for me to, so that's why I got so ticked off, pissed off, irritated when the two guys on the podcast about, see, I mean, the podcast was already a good 4 or 5 years old at the time, where the way they just flat out winged it. It was just disappointing. I don't know. It's like they didn't really care about it as much as maybe something else, like Mario or something, Mario 3, maybe some other games like Star Tropics or something. And we'll probably get to every one of those at some point, because I'm probably going to do this podcast the rest of my life, probably. Even if I live to 109 years old, I'm probably going to do this podcast the rest of my life. What do you think of that announcement? Unless there's some kind of contractual bind where I'm unable to. This also doesn't guarantee the shows are going to be released regularly. There's reasons for hiatuses, like busy schedules and stuff. This one, I was kind of delaying it because I wanted it to get to the closer to Halloween, and thank God I'm able to get the crunch time in here around October 21st, 22nd, 23rd to get this thing finished. And thankfully, I was also able to actually beat the game. Not 100% authentically beat the game, but closely authentic, similar to 1943. Probably, I think 43 was actually a better accomplishment than what I did with this one, believe it or not. So, and it was actually more authentic than this one, because there's some really hard little parts. Luckily, that final level is insanely short, which the final level in Castlevania 3 is pretty short as well. But again, if you die, you don't start at and you continue, whatever, like game over. You don't start at the stairs like you do in this one. So at least you have that benefit in Castlevania 1. Castlevania 2, you're not gonna get a whole lot of game overs in that one unless you're just screwing around. And there are some annoying parts that you'd fall into pits still in Castlevania 2. We'll get to that one maybe next year. I'm thinking I'm probably not gonna do any more Halloween-esque games. I think we're moving on, obviously, into more November-ish, Christmas-ish type of games as we move forward. Holiday season, as you like to call it, because when I think holiday, I think Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. That's the way I see the holidays, so to speak. So that's my version of the holiday season, from my perspective. Not to dump that on you, but in Halloween you could count as kind of like the beginning of it all as well. And that's what's fun about Halloween, in my point of view, is we're heading into like Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that. New Year's I couldn't care less about. It's kind of like the end of everything, where Halloween's the beginning of it. You get very beautiful scenery, beautiful sugar maples, red maples, oak trees, whatever, as you get the fall colors, this and that. And Castlevania just has always had that gorgeous vibe for me, particularly the earlier games. The newer games, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, it's like you're stuck inside the castle. Metroidvania, you know what I mean? Where these, you get to see some outside. This game was mostly indoors, but there is outside-ish, indoors-ish kind of vibes, you know what I mean? Castlevania 2, you're outside a lot. 3, you're outside some, definitely. Not as much as, more in that one than in the first game. You are mostly in the castle in the first game, but you still get to see outside, though. You get to see the spooky scenery, so to speak, the trees and such. And, of course, spooky scenery inside the castle as well. So it's kind of like a both, mostly in the castle, but, still a fun, cool overall vibe to this game. Again, just the first impression I had of this game was like, just listen to that music. Look at the and it's not about graphics being so impressive. Oh my God, it looks so like real life. I couldn't care less about if it looks like real life. I like the vibe. I like the colors. I like the look. Like, it looks cool. It looks good, and you can actually understand what they created. A spider doesn't look like or like a bat doesn't look like a spider or something. You can tell it's a bat, that type of thing. To me, that's more than enough. That it actually has the look that you're hoping for in an 8-bit video game. The colors, the sound, the graphics, obviously this and that, the general gameplay. Unfortunately, again, the stiffness adds to the difficulty. Getting knocked off the edge, getting killed in one hit, basically dying in 4 hits pretty much. If you get hit, like the knights hit you, anything from an axe knight to Dracula to a bat. It kills you in 4 hits. It's pretty ridiculous. So there is that, along with the fact that the Cookie Monster character can land on you and all that, and you could maybe get hit twice. It's a pain in the butt, but thankfully you can get better and better and better with the capability of being able to continue from the stairs rather than the start of the level in Castlevania 3. That one might be the one we review next year. So it's all a year away, that kind of thing. Symphony of the Night, possibly. That one's going to be reviewed for sure on this show. That might be a two-parter. We'll see how things go. Otherwise, I can break things down enough that it's not, a 4, 5, 6 hour episode like I did with Evermore and Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. Zelda 2 ended up being a pretty long episode as well, but it's a fun game. It's fun, it's enjoyable. It's actually, it's kind of like Zelda-vania in a way. I think I even mentioned that on the last, or when I did that episode. It's similar to Castlevania in a lot of ways because it's a side-scroller type of situation, and it's insanely freaking hard, and you get knocked back and can fall and die in one hit because of that. So that can be really annoying as well. With that, again, world-class rating. Like if it's out of 100, it's like 95, around there. 95 and up is world-class. This is maybe a 96, 97. For an NES game, it's world-class. NES side-scrolling classic at the end of the day for so many reasons. Storyline, all that good stuff. So with that, we'll take a quick break and come back for fan, or should we call it feedback? Not fan interaction. This is not sports, but the feedback segment. And we are back here on Video Game Flashback, Konami's Castlevania 1, all that good stuff. Now, I did mention I got the 7-Eleven hat. Was there any responses from 1943? No, but there were a couple of reposts, as they call them now. I just want to acknowledge the people that reposted it, if I could possibly do that. Derek Felske, it shows 2, so okay, maybe that was one of my other accounts. So thank you very much, Derek Felska, for the repost. Really appreciate you coming in out of western Wisconsin, but of course a Minnesota native. Absolutely. Again, hashtag VG flashback. So like capital VG flash. VGF are all capital, and then it's all flashback. So it's just one F, just one word. And you will see it in the show description. This of course keeps things organized. This is going to be the first time I'm going to use this new one, so it's not going to show right away. Oops, like the other one used to. I miss having it, but I mean, hey, the fact that it was triggering something else, not a good idea. So let's try to be unique as possible here. What was going on? I think there was something else. Yeah, good. Yes, good. I got to go back. Good thing I went back here before I... And now, how could this be possible? It's triggering another thing. Oh my God, how frustrating. You've got to be kidding me. It's picking up some other thing. Vibrant, oh, come on, guys. You've got to be kidding. So, that's fine. We'll keep working with this one for now. That's so dumb. Yeah, it's like several years ago, so who cares? 2017. It's not like it's current. So I'm going to take my chances. Good. Okay. Well, we're going to keep this one. Don't worry, Derek and anybody else. We're going to keep this one. Now, those hashtags are from 2017. I hope I don't have to worry about it again. Get to Derek. I remember playing Castlevania as a weekend rental game after I had played its sequel, Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. Castlevania is challenging, but not impossibly tough. Yeah, and... Yep, he says stages are a bit glum, but the enemies, classic monster bosses, make it fun. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I jumped ahead. Because he put part 2 there. I'm sorry. Part 1 of his tweet or post is Castlevania as a series, arguably among the top 5 for the NES, and also heralded some fantastic entries for the Genesis, Castlevania Bloodlines. Yep. And Super Nintendo, Castlevania 4 and Dracula X. to CD-based games Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night. Yep, and then of course I remember playing Castlevania as a weekend rental game after I'd played the sequel, Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. Castlevania is challenging but not impossibly tough. Stages are a bit glum, but the enemies, classic monsters, and bosses, classic monster bosses make it fun. So yeah, Castlevania Bloodlines, very good game. That'll probably get reviewed on here, very likely at some point, 5-6 years from now, I don't know, 2 years from now, next year, who knows, probably not next year though. Now when I have 1, 2, 3, Castlevania 4 is going to be an unbelievable one, Symphony of the Night, those are all probably ahead in the totem pole, so to speak, but it's going to happen. Dracula X, I don't see myself reviewing that version, or maybe I will just to complain, I don't know. Because see, Rondo of Blood is like the real version of it. Dracula X is kind of like the, here, you get this. You know what I mean? It is a prequel to Symphony of the Night, where you have Richter and Maria and all them. Richter's girlfriend is in Rondo of Blood also, but as just somebody you're saving, though, not like a fighting character, where Maria is a little girl in that version, where Symphony of the Night, she's blossomed into a beautiful blonde lady, vampire hunter, but beautiful blonde lady in that one, an adult, and her and Alucard end up becoming a thing at the end. Spoiler alert. Joey, how dare you? Whereas Richter, Richter is the main character of that whole thing. He's like the actual vampire hunter, the Belmont, so to speak, in that story, because it's 2 parts. It's Rondo of Blood for the not the turbo graphics, but the Japanese version of it, if you know what I mean. Like the turbo graphics was the American version brought over here for some reason, from God knows who knows why. It didn't come out in the American version, which is dumb, but eventually we were able to get it translated into English and all that stuff years later. An outstanding game, an outstanding prequel to Symphony of the Night. The music and all that, outstanding. I got to do a review of that one for sure, so that's on the list as well. PC Engine, I believe it was called. That's the Japanese version of the Turbo Graphics. That's also where you can play the 1943 Kai is also on that one, and I believe 1944 might be on that as well, I think, and even on the Turbo Graphics, but I know it's on the PC Engine for sure. But yeah, that's great conversation. It got me going there as well. Dracula X, I just didn't like it. Maybe you did, Derek, and that's definitely your choice. The graphics are really good. I'll give it that. Like the fire scene at the beginning, outstanding. But as you get further and further in the game, it gets kind of like, it goes from fun hard, like Castlevania 1, 2, 3, well, Castlevania 1 and 3 anyway, to stupid, this isn't fair, this is not that fun hard, as far as I'm concerned, where, I don't know, it's just not as good, in my opinion. Rondo of Blood gets insanely hard as well, but it's fun. And playing as the little girl, the little girl version of Maria is fun as well. She's a pretty little thing, but we'll leave it at that. The weapons she uses are pretty cool. They're like doves, and they get stronger as you get further and all that. They're actually pretty nice because there's a little range to them. But obviously Maria is a beautiful thing in Symphony of the Night. Goes from a pretty little thing to a beautiful lady in Symphony of the Night. And I think her and Alucard become something at the end. Cool. 2017. I don't know why that's even there. That's not the latest. I don't know. Let's keep going. Derek Felska says, part 3. And this time I'm seeing it in order. The outstanding music became a signature of the series, and secondary weapons like the boomerang or holy water, especially, holy water, were unique. It's so valuable to get, especially to wipe out like the mummies and Frankenstein monster. Oh my, so nice. I think of the common enemies, the flying Medusas, are what I hated the most. Yes, and we get to see those make a comeback in Castlevania 3 and 4. And I'm pretty sure they're in Rondo of Blood, absolutely. And then there's like dragon head things in Zelda 2, which are basically the exact same thing. Up and down in like a wave pattern, and oh boy, oh God, help me. The flying Medusas are what I hated the most. I agree. Bounce back enemy hits were frustrating. Where you get knocked in the pit. Or in the water or whatever. It's F-bomb frustrating. Next, Derek continues Vampire Hunter, or Vampire Killer, and Bloody Tears. Vampire Hunter is the da-da-da-da, and then Bloody Tears is in Castlevania 2, the da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So, perhaps some of the best video game songs ever created. If you enjoy Castlevania, I'd strongly recommend the Bloodstained series, which is made by the same creators as an homage to the original. Cool. So, yes, check out the Bloodstained series. I'm interested. Maybe those will be reviewable at some point. Interesting, because I know there's been some, and that's really cool that it's some of their made by the same creators. That's really cool. And of course, there's some interesting homebrews out there as well. Homebrews, indies, whatever, of Castlevania games that are, it's Castlevania, but obviously like a different, just different, It's the same, similar graphics and all that, gameplay and everything, but it's like another one, which is really cool. Little bit more cool. I thought I saw Vince Germano, but I think Vince Germano said something about like he never got a chance to play it, which is a bummer. Come on, Vince. But over in Australia, it's kind of hit and miss. Australia and other places, and I know the Sega Master System was like huge in South America and parts of Europe. The Sega Master System, isn't that interesting? How that turns up, like Brazil and stuff. Interesting, but it's a great game system that I think is vastly underrated. We'll continue. Okay, so I think it's another two-parter here. Yeah, that's the whole idea. Derek again, which is great, because I finally posted about it, but Derek jumped in early, which is totally good. Yes, I'm not against you jumping in early at all, because as long as it's after the previous game, I need to just pay the frick attention and pick them up, because what you did was 100% fine. Because I'm probably about to announce the next. Yeah, I'm pretty sure what the next game is going to be. Anyhow, Derek, the gameplay was fun and challenging, but not brutally hard like Ghosts and Goblins. Oh crap! Yeah, that's true. Classic horror movie enemies make it a must-play around Halloween time. Yep, I agree. Minnesota, that would be Dan Minnesota, who's wrote some really cool books here. Particularly one about the frustrations of Minnesota sports, all the heartbreak we've been through, and even things that caused heartbreak later or prevented a dynasty. Like, what was it? John Wooden wound up not coming to the Gophers to be the coach because of a blizzard, and then he wound up being the legendary UCLA coach who won all those national championships. Just think about that. He was going to come here. Yeah, it's a long time ago, but it still counts. Damn it. Anyhow, Minnesota. Oh, this might be. Nope, that's Teresa Ferries. I got her mixed up, but I know Dan Minnesota's a retro gamer as well. Teresa Ferries. I am sorry, Teresa. She says she even remembers playing that one as a kid. I remember hating the damn flying Medusa head since they could fly through platforms. Yeah, and there's nothing you can do and emerge from beneath you. It always seemed like a cheap hit. Toss in Konami/Capcom bounce back on hits that often could be fatal, like in Mega Man. Yep, despite those frustrations. Yep, it's a great game. Absolutely great game, and thank you so much. Yep, despite that, the outstanding music became the signature of the series of secondary weapons. Yep. Nope, that is a different post. But thank you so much, Derek. Really appreciate interaction and the detail. Yeah, this game is a special one. It really is a special one for me and a special one for a lot of people, and it's a must-play around this time of year. You can play it around Christmas. You can play it in Easter, I'm not trying to combat Christmas and Easter, but you can play it any time of the year, May or whatever, if you just have that vibe, you want to play it. But around this time of year, you absolutely just have that feeling. All the festive pumpkins and all that cute stuff, cute little decorations, as long as they're innocent and not evil and all that. It can be a lot of fun. And of course, watching movies like anything from Halloween to Bram Stoker's Dracula or Frankenstein or whatever the heck. Son of Dracula, that's one in the 40s that, again, James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd, has brought up in the past. With that said, thank you again for listening. Please tell your friends about the show. Please tell your friends about the show. Encourage people to listen and download it via Spotify or Apple or whatever, Google Podcast. But I will announce the new game, or the next game. It's probably, most likely, we'll say 80% chance going to be, oh boy, I'm going to go from one really hard game to another really hard game. Mega Man 1. Mega Man 1 from Capcom. Yep, so we're going to go back to Capcom. Konami, Capcom, and bounce back deaths and all that. Yep. I'm going to be editing out a lot of cursing, I'm sure, here and there and stuff. Mega Man 1. Incredible soundtrack. Very difficult game. Insanely satisfying when you actually beat it once in your life. It feels great. Until next time, take care. And, because as we're heading into November, December, Mega Man 1, that's always kind of had that vibe. Like hockey season, Mega Man 1 is as hockey as it gets. You'll often hear Mega Man 1 and 2 tracks, sound bites, tracks, and all that stuff in my Brave the Wild podcast, which is, of course, Minnesota Wild podcast. So, because Mega Man looks like a hockey player. And obviously, hockey starts in October, but you start really getting a hockey vibe in November, as far as I'm concerned. With that said, again, take care. God bless. And, Mega Man 1 is next, most likely.